Fritz.
You guys are probably really tired, so we'll go quick.
Coach, I'll let you open it up, talk about spring, talk about core class, going into summer, and then we'll open up to questions.
You bet. You know, we had 15 really good practices for spring ball. Had a good, we went live a little bit in spring game, including the quarterback. Not very many people do that. We did that with our third, fourth, and fifth team quarterbacks, and saw some interesting things doing that. I thought the kids that we added from the portal, and also high school kids. I think we had 11 high school kids that came in early. They graduated early. They really did a good job of embracing, you know, the University of Houston and what we're looking for in our football program. And, you know, so we're going to have quite a few new guys this season, not nearly as many as we had the year before, but we're excited about it. I think we improved our depth, particularly on the offensive line. Got some legitimate competition. There were some positions last year where guys were starting. He was the best guy there. We didn't have much competition, but we're going to have competition, good competition with the running backs, the tight ends, the wide receivers. Excited about our quarterbacks. You know, Connor Wigman came in and he's been fantastic to work with. Really good team guy. Zion Chris was a little banged up at the beginning of the spring, but last 7-8 practices he was super. We're excited about the development of Austin Carlisle, also at quarterback position. You know, defensively, you know, both sides of the ball are new coordinators. Slade Nagel. Slade was with me at Tulane and did a great job there. And then he went over to LSU last season, kind of wanted to be a coordinator again. We were fortunate enough to get him to come over here to Houston. And so there's a lot of familiarity between Slade and I and what he does. I got complete confidence in him. And then Austin Armstrong came in and as our new defensive coordinator. He was at Florida the last couple of years. Before that, he was at Southern Miss. Actually coached some in Georgia and Alabama, and he did a good job of working with the guys this spring. So just a very good spring. Got a lot of good work in technique fundamentally, and then also got a lot of work in schematically because we had 2 new coordinators. We needed to do that.
Coach, in your secondary, there was a lot of shuffling going on. You know, you lost a couple of guys to the portal. You got a couple of guys coming in. What's your overall thoughts on that group and your confidence level?
Well, it's, you know, we feel like we really added some good guys. Portal, a couple of outstanding corners. You know, a couple of really good safeties. You know, and we needed to, you know, for depth purposes as well, and also for these guys to compete for starting positions. So we have a lot of good competition on the back end. So we're very, very excited about that. A couple of guys from Wyoming, a young man corner from Sac State, another DB who's from Houston, went to Elkins High School, who's from Louisiana Tech. So added some good guys to go along with the guys that are here.
Do you have any positions where you still have a need?
No, we're done. We're done. We're excited about where we're at right now, and you know, we feel like you know, I think we did a good job of finding guys at the positions that we needed, and you know, we want competition at position. You know, and we just didn't have much of that last season. Had a difficult time playing some starters in the kicking game because we just didn't have anybody to back them up if they came out of the game. So, you know, then we're also excited about the guys we've added. You know, you know, there's some guys that we don't have here that probably just didn't fit our culture. You know, the portal works both ways, not just one way. So we, you know, are excited about the guys that we've added, and you know, I think they're going to really contribute to the University of Houston.
Do you have a date or time frame of when you'll occupy the new building?
Yeah, we're going to get in there right before we report for camp, which I believe is Monday, July 30th. Is that correct?
28th.
28th, is that what it is? So we're gonna move in that weekend and then jump in and go. I actually took a tour of it on Monday, And boy, it is something else. It's, we're going to have some of the best facilities in the nation, not just the state of Texas. 160,000 square feet, all sorts of bells and whistles over there for our players. Unbelievable weight room, locker room, meeting rooms, offices. We'll eat over there as well. You just walk 5 yards, you're in our unbelievable indoor facility, and then you walk across the street, we're at our phenomenal grass practice fields. So everything's going to be really close. You walk down the ramp, you're into the stadium. So we didn't have a very long walk. I've had some places where you had to walk a mile to get down where you're going to practice, so it wasn't that bad. But we're fired up about moving in there. We're trying to keep it under wraps a little bit so that we don't want the players getting in there until we get it done, so they can see exactly how enormous it is and just how incredible it's going to be to go in there and help yourself develop as a college football player.
Opportunities like spring training, it always helps to assess, like what problem area, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. What have you seen from this team so far in that regard?
The part that I talked about, before is the depth. We just got some legitimate competition position, spring ball is a good initial indicator of who's going to start, who's going to be second team, who's going to play how much. But really, the first 3 ball games, is how we're going to judge guys. This guy may be playing 30 plays the first game, and then you find out he's only going to be playing 15, or maybe he goes up to 50 plays, whatever the case may be. But we're going to play a lot of guys early. Last year we did that to find out about our guys, also for our stamina. But we're going to do it this year because we've got legitimate competition in a whole lot of different positions. So I think that's one of our strengths. We went from not having very much quality depth to having quite a bit of it. We're excited about it.
Hey, Coach. What have the last few weeks after the spring game looked like for the team? What have you had them do?
Oh, there's what you call student-athlete discretionary time period. You got to have 9 weeks a year with that, and that means you can't do anything, no organized activity that has to do with football. So everything that was going on from that point forward was really voluntary. So the guys were, studying for their finals, taking care of business in that regard. My coaches have been on the road recruiting all over the state of Texas, and state of Louisiana. Those are our 2 primary areas, obviously. And then, so I haven't had a whole lot of contact with the guys, because a lot of the guys are, they take online classes. They're at home right now. They're done. We've had a few guys that are going through graduation. We had a little ceremony for those guys on Wednesday. So not a whole lot of football stuff. We had a lot of visits. We had some guys in the portal come in and visit us.
Willie, what do you think led to your success in the transfer portal, and how do you sort of look at that strategically and what you're trying to do there?
Well, you got to do it positionally. The thing I was excited about is we were able to, to be a great recruiter, you got to be a talent evaluator. Some guys do a good job of that. You can tell if that guy can play at your level, what he's good at, what he's not good at, et cetera. Then you got to be a great information gatherer. And last year when I came in, I didn't have much time to do that. My first, December here. So we were able to really get in the weeds and find guys that, have the same belief system as us. So that's very, very important. I think we did an excellent job of, talking to as many people as we possibly could about whether they would be a good fit here at the University of Houston, and how I do things here with our football program. So that was a huge advantage for us. You got to have both, not one or the other. You got to have a guy who can play, Power 4 football, but also is, he's wanting to win. In this day and age, you got guys going all over the place. I want guys who are, you play for the name on the front of your jersey, the name on the back will prosper. So we want guys who want to play for the University of Houston, do the best job they possibly can.
Willie,
Have you had a chance to talk to any of the guys that got minicamp invites?
Yeah, I talked to quite a few of them. Really excited for those guys. You know, it's, you know, I know the head coach of the Lions pretty well. He was over at the Saints when I was at Tulane, and he was very, very excited about Keith Cooper going up there. And, you know, all those guys, you know, the first thing you need is an opportunity. And I think we had 6 guys, maybe 7. Is that correct? They're getting an opportunity. Some of them might be just rookie camp. We've had guys in the past who just went to a rookie camp and made teams, you know, and then some other guys that were, you know, free agents and had, you know, 6, 7, 8 teams competing for them to go to their squad. So, you know, you get the opportunities, taking advantage of that opportunity. So I'm very happy for those guys.
Wes has a new title as general manager. What has changed about that role?
Well, a lot of things have changed. He did not want me to make that title with him. He's kind of one of those guys who likes to be in the background, but he was doing everything plus more that general managers do. You know, does a good job of evaluating talent. And he's our lead guy in the recruiting office, and the only guy who overrules him is me. You know, I don't do that very often. And then he, you know, also had to do some negotiating. You know, you know, it's a different world we live in right now with agents and parents and kids and all those other kind of different things. So it was a lot more of a, you know, general manager role than what he was doing in the past. So I told him that we were doing it, and don't fight me on it.
Will, you talk a lot about your improvement to the offensive line, and you know, when it all starts up front. So when there's protection, you can essentially do whatever you want with the football. So what is your vision for the offense this year?
Well, for the offensive line or for the offense?
For the offense.
For the offense as a whole. You know, I've always been a 50-50 guy. You know, we had to kind of get away from that a little bit last year because we didn't do a great job of pass protection and sustaining our blocks and getting open out there on the perimeter and then hitting them when they were open. So we had to run the ball a little bit and play a little bit more ball control style offense so that we could stay in games. But we want to be a 50-50 team. One of the things I'm excited about with Coach Nagel is, you know, he went over to LSU, and they're probably one of the better drop back pass teams in the country. And so he got an opportunity to get his feet wet in a different style of offense. Now, we're not going to be exclusively drop back pass. We like to run 50% of the time and throw 50% of the time. We had 800 plays in the season. I'd like 400 of each, if at all possible, because we got some darn good running backs. But, you know, I'm excited that, you know, with the direction our offense is moving in. I saw some really good things in the spring, and you know, really the big difference to me was in the offensive line. You know, we got competition there. We signed 5 guys that started, you know, at Division I schools and played well at Division I schools, and combining those guys with the guys that we have returning, there's going to be competition, you know, and that's good. Competition makes us all better.
Willie, you mentioned the different age of college athletics and the negotiating. Would you like to see more structure, and you know, how do you look at it, like knowing change is coming but not knowing exactly?
I would like to see more structure without question. I would like to, you know, and then once we make these rules, let's stay with them for 5 years, you know, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it might be. You know, but right now we just seem like we change every 6 months. We don't know what's going to happen, and I don't think that's fair for the coaches, the players, the administration, fans. You know, we got to get a handle on it, and I think we're getting closer to that. Obviously, I don't make the rules; I just abide by them. But I would like to see us, you know, figure out what path we're going down, and let's just keep going that direction instead of going all over the place.